Citizens, back with me again, Haji Gautama Putra. I am your lecturer for parallel and distributed systems. This is our 11th meeting. We are talking about shared memory model or thread. In our second video, we will discuss about thread example on Python. So in the last video, we have discussed about threading, but for example, if you haven't had the imagination, it is threading is a important concept in programming. So if you don't implement it in a program, you will only imagine things and it won't be related to the main thing that we want to teach to you. So it is important that I give you an example of threading, and we are going to use Python. So the first step is to import the library of threading in your program. So for example, your program starts like this. You just write import threading at the top of your program. So that's done, and now you have imported the library and you can use the threading library. So now the next step is to program the thread that you want to make. So how do you program it? You just create a usual function that you usually create with a Python. And if you want to make a function, you write def or define. And for example, the name of the thread, for example, we call it my thread. And if you want to give it an argument, just put in one kind of argument here. We are going to make, for example, an argument called num and colon, and then give it a little indent. And for example, here we just want to make a print, and this is s, which is called string, and then send again, and then call the variable num, and that's done. We write return, and so our thread is done. So in step 3, we want to instantiate or create the thread that we have defined earlier. And here in our example, we want to make two threads with the same definition, and we can do that. So just write down, for example, the first thread, we will call it T1, and T1 equals thread heading, which is the library, and thread, which is the command to create a thread. And it's right here, target equals the name of our thread, which is my thread, and the second argument will be args, and this is the name of our thread. So just call it, for example, this is the variable which is called, which is here is num. So the num here is 1, and then we create the second thread, we called T2. This is the same threading thread equals target. This is the same function, so my thread also. And now we differentiate it by calling it 2. So the first thread is 1 and the second thread is 2. And your program will look like this, and the final step is to start the threads. So you have created the threads, but the threads hasn't started yet. To start the threads, you need to write down a syntax like this for each of the threads. So for example, if your thread is called T1, T1.start, and T2, T2.start, and don't forget to add a bracket, and your thread will uh, run. And what does it look like? It will look like this. And your program will look like this, and the final step is to start the threads. So you have created the threads, but the threads haven't started yet. To start the threads, you need to write down a syntax like this for each of the threads. So for example, if your thread is called T1, T1.start, and T2, T2.start, and don't forget to add a bracket. And your thread will uh, run. And what does it look like? It will look like this. And this is the result of executing the program. So that's the end of our video. In the next video, we'll discuss more about the result of the execution. Thank you for your attention. I'll meet you in the next video.